Did you guys get to see them? Happy Thanksgiving to you this week.
Thank you.
Did you get to see Miracle on 23rd Street? No, that's Miracle on 34th Street. I'm just telling you, I thought we were done with politics. Representative Dunnington, let's start with you. Last week, the governor had vetoed that bill, okay? And she was getting high praise. Early in the week, she comes out with this executive order, and now education's angry at her. That didn't last long, but what is the governor trying to do with these executive orders?
Yeah, so the executive order that you're talking about is the one that would ask all school districts that don't spend at least 60% of their budget on instruction to either consolidate with other districts around them or be forced to consolidate. Ben Felder of the Oklahoman wrote a great article about that same thing this week, saying that only a small fraction of all schools would actually come or fit above that 60% line. I'm not exactly sure what she's doing with this executive order, but I am sure that the thing that we need to focus on education is making sure that they have the right resources to educate our children.
So most people are looking at this, Senator, as there's got to be something behind the executive order, trying to get something accomplished. What do you think it is?
Well, I'm not sure that an executive order was exactly the right way to ask the question, but it's a very important question. On the doorstep, I get asked a couple of questions over and over about education. Number one, where did all the lottery money go? That's easy to answer. And the number two is, why do we have so many school districts? State of South Carolina, similar population, about 1 million people more than we do, they have 109. I get asked this question a lot. I think basically the governor says, help us help you prove that the structure that we have is the most efficient, it is the most effective, and if it's not, then maybe we need to have conversations about how we do administration in the state of Oklahoma. We want to get schools more money, but we need the data and we need the information to be able to advocate for them.
Isn't it interesting that in the space of about a week, we went from talking about increased revenue to savings? The House went first this week. They put a special investigative committee together. They even have subpoena power about waste. We know that's aimed at the health department, which should have been done years ago. However, I'm wondering, has the revenue topic gone away and now we're going to try to balance the budget with just savings? Is the topic changed?
Well, I don't know if the topic changed everywhere, but I do know that we have a significant number of the members that want to focus on waste. These are not mutually exclusive. We need to be looking at both sources of making our government more efficient, more effective, and properly funded all at the same time. I'm not exactly sure as a senator why the House of Representatives needs to put together a special committee to get people to do what is actually our job anyway. We should be doing this all the time. I spend all year working with the agencies that I oversee and already know the answer to a lot of these questions.
And we'll get to those agencies, boards, and commissions here in just a moment. But I'm wondering, for you, you have seen the narrative change in about the space of a week, and I'm wondering about 2018. What do you think will be more compelling, waste or raising revenue?
Yeah, so this is an interesting idea, this idea that the State Department of Health had a lot of waste. Let's look at the facts here. I mean, we're not talking about massive embezzlement or paying out big bonuses to high persons in the State Department of Health. We're talking about the fact that they spent money on vaccines, that they gave more money than they had to community health centers. I mean, if we're spending more money than we have on the health of some of our most vulnerable citizens, then I guess we're guilty of that. But putting together a special committee to look for waste right now just seems like a witch hunt. And we need less witch hunts, and we need more people focused on funding core services of government.
Remember when Church Lady would say how convenient? All right, so a couple of weeks ago we had this legislative compensation board come together right when all of this stuff's going on during the special session, rolling back legislative pay. Trey Savage from Non-Doc was there. There's a guy on there that's in the media. It's just a lot of conflicts of interest having the media being involved in setting legislative pay. That's for another day. But the fact is, they made jokes about not being transparent. Don't you think, we're talking agencies, boards, and commissions, that all of these agencies, boards, and commissions should be more transparent? And think about transparency.
Yeah, transparency is hugely important in state government. It's important in any government because you want your citizens to feel confident, to know that those that are making laws, that are putting together policies, are doing so with the best interests of the public in mind, and not doing so behind closed doors in secret meetings where no one understands what's going on. And to deal with the issue of legislative pay, I certainly understand why the public is frustrated that their legislators may or may not be getting anything done for them in their eyes. But I think it was the wrong tact to go and decrease legislative pay. I think that it decreases the likelihood of really qualified people wanting to step up and run for office someday.
And the issue of agencies, boards, and commissions, I mean, when you look at a story like Trey Savage did this week, you're going, why are those people on that board? All of these boards and commissions, they just operate in the dark, it seems like.
Well, and some of them do great work. I want to brag on the Office of Juvenile Affairs Board of Directors right now with some fantastic visionary Oklahomans that are really helping Director Buck move the Office of Juvenile Affairs forward. And then we have a lot of folks that serve on boards, and it seems that their main purpose there is to protect their own income or to protect their own livelihood. I think what we saw with the Legislative Compensation Board was a few people that made what can only be considered a very short-sighted decision behind closed doors without anybody else really paying any attention. I think that happens more than we would care to admit.
All right, the double jeopardy time. We're going to just ask you both. We know what's happened. It's been a crazy week. What do the voters, what do the consumers of news over the next month take away from what's happened at 23rd and Lincoln?
Well, I think we know that the people have not been pleased with what's happened at 23rd and Lincoln. I hope that they realize that most of us that are also there every day are not pleased either. We weren't pleased with the outcome of the budget. We want to do better for you, and we're willing to stay all the way through Christmas to make sure that we come up with a plan that really sets us on the right path. And that's going to take everything. It's going to take everybody. We've talked about all hands on deck for a year. We've got to just keep working, got to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. I'm just as frustrated as everybody else.
And
maybe more.
Representative Dunnington, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's two takeaways from what's already happened and what should happen in the future as we go into what will be a second special session. And those two things are bipartisanship and recurring revenue. We won't get this done unless we're working together. It takes too many votes with a 75% majority in order to get revenue passed. It will take an effort from both sides of the aisle to get this done. And we have to have recurring revenue. Without recurring revenue, we will not be able to fund the core services of government that all of us that care so much about the state want to do. So those two things are a must.
All right, December is going to be fun. See this again at news9.com/your vote counts. In December.